Welcome to the Future of Payroll and Workforce Management Insights by HR.com, your go-to resource for insights into payroll and workforce management. From navigating compliance and technology trends to exploring the latest in global payroll solutions, we're here to keep you ahead of the curve. Join us as we dive into the forces reshaping payroll and share practical strategies to optimize your workforce management. Let's get started. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Future of Payroll and Workforce Management, a podcast here at HR.com, where I am the executive community leader of Future of Payroll, and I lead a bunch of other things. We have a couple advisory boards and employers of record. I cover workforce management, HRIS, all sorts of things. But enough about me. My guest today is Sean Behr, who is CEO of Fountain. Welcome, Sean.
Absolutely. Brent, you're a man of many talents, obviously. You do it all over there at HR.com. So it's great to be with you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's good to know that the veneer I've carefully crafted is paying off here.
Yeah, your image consulting team is top notch, my friend.
Well, yours is too. And, we're going to talk about frontline workers and workforce management aspect of things. What's going on there? What's interesting? We'll probably talk about AI. In fact, I'll be disappointed if we don't. But first, as I like to ask all my guests, and I'll ask you too, everybody seems to have a passion in this space, especially when it comes to the world of work. What's yours? What gets you going every day? What got you into this particular industry, Sean? And what's your sort of raison d'etre, I guess?
I first off, it's great to be here, as I mentioned, and I'm Sean Behr. I'm the CEO here at Fountain. My journey into the world of work really began with Fountain. And I have the unique perspective of being both the CEO of the company today and actually the first angel investor in the company in the beginning. So before I even worked here, I believed in the team, I believed in the mission, I believed in what they were trying to accomplish. And so I've sort of seen it not only from an operations perspective, but also from an investment perspective. And I think the thing that most spoke to me and continues to speak to me, right, is that I'm a multi-time entrepreneur. I've built tech companies my whole life. And I've built them in advertising, I've built them in e-commerce, I've built them in mobility. And those are all wonderful places to build and innovate. The thing that I find really interesting about the world of work is that the work that we do, the technology that we build, results in someone actually getting a job, actually making money, actually accomplishing what they want to do in their life. And there's something unique about that contribution. That it isn't like we're shipping another toy or providing another drink or showing another advertisement. This is somebody who, when we do our job as Fountaineers, and I would say this more broadly for the HR tech landscape, someone actually gets an opportunity to provide for their family, their friends, and achieve the goals that they're setting out to achieve because of the work that we do every day. At Fountain, our focus is specifically on that frontline worker, that worker that's on the front lines of our economy. And I would argue that population of workers, two things can be true at the same time. One, those people have never been more valuable. Especially this time of year, imagine trying to get all your shopping done without those packages arriving, and it's a population of workers that I think the future of work has underserved and underinvested in. And so, the thing that gets me excited, my reason for being is to open opportunities for that population of workers around the world. And I'm proud to do that with a couple hundred other Fountaineers around the world as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's great to hear about an angel investor who who really sort of understands this particular business, and sort of an investor that understands, HCM, the world of work, and that's I think we need more of that.
More of
If
that.
you look, a lot more of that. And another thing that you said that really struck me is that it's almost kind of like, it's sort of a for-profit, but with sort of a nonprofit-ish mission, right? There's
Yeah,
sort of a
yeah.
charity sort of,
Yeah, it's
aspect
on
to it.
purpose.
Yes, 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 purpose, exactly. There's a
And
real purpose.
our founders who are listening to this will kind of chuckle a little bit, but something I often say internally is th- the mission of opening opportunities for the global workforce would be worth doing even if we didn't get paid to do it.
Right.
It's the right thing to do. It happens to also be a very good business,
Mhm.
which I'm happy to do. I'm a capitalist and at heart, and I love building businesses and growing businesses. But the mission itself is altruistic in nature. It's also unachievable in nature. There's no top to that mountain. We're never going to get to the top of Everest. There's always
Right.
going to be more to do in opening opportunities. And I think you know, people sometimes think about opening opportunities as the talent acquisition. I would argue opening opportunities is an employee life cycle
Okay.
thing, from talent attraction to hiring to onboarding to pre-boarding, onboarding, scheduling and time shift attendance and communications and upward mobility. You're constantly looking at what opportunities can I open up for this population of workers.
You know what's interesting, what you said there is that, in so many things, just in life, we're looking for, the ultimate solution. Okay, we're arguing. Let's find out what the solution is, so there'll never be any arguing ever again, or we'll figure out the solution, and there'll never be a problem ever again. And that's a great North Star
Hmm.
to kind of strive for all the time. But the Zen, what you're describing is the Zen, and I'm not a Zen Buddhist, so I'm just using this as sort of a,
Yeah.
it's just as sort of a layperson. But that Zen attitude of, it's more of just, you are always solving and always finding new challenges to solve.
Yeah.
And it just, that is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And what's interesting in that also is how you apply it to the world of work. You see so much around here in this particular area of industry around, talent acquisition is broken. We need to fix it, and all these sorts of things. And I think talent acquisition is always going to be, quote unquote, broken. Right? There'll always be something major to fix. But
Yeah.
you go 20 years from now, hopefully. You'll have different challenges. You look back and say, "Hey, we figured those out along the way."
Yeah.
Um, when it
I think
comes
that's a
to the
great
front
point,
line,
by the way, Brand. It's like, I think it's one of the things I think as I look ahead to 2026, I think, I think, and this is not just HR, future of work. I would say this more software implementation writ large across industry, across vertical. Um, there's been this feeling of I'm going to buy this, let's just say financial package, this accounting software. I'm just to take it out of the world of work for a second. I'm going to implement it. I'm going to choose the best partner for me. I'm going to implement the software. And then I'm going to put a bow on it. And then I'm going to hopefully not have to think about it or talk about it for 3 or 4 years while I go do other stuff.
mm,
And I'm not sure that that works anymore. I think your point about it's always being broken, I think always being interested in what's what is happening in innovation in that financial accounting software world that I implemented last year, and what can I do? What small improvements can I do this year
mm,
to ensure that I never wind up in a place where I feel like we're so far behind? So
yeah,
small technology innovation investment ongoingly feels like a better route than sort of the set it and forget it. We implemented it, now we're gonna ignore it for 5 years, which I think frankly is sometimes what happens in talent acquisition or in, workforce management. Someone buys
Yeah.
the piece of software, they install it, and then they say, "All right, see you in 5 years."
Or I've solved my problem. Now I can turn to something else now, right? Um, Another thing that you mentioned here that it is a tangent, but it's really interesting. It made me think of this as, we think of innovation as being sort of these grand sweeping moments of wow, dazzling,
Yeah,
we made it to we landed on the moon. Whatever
yeah,
the SaaS software equivalent is of that, right? And then we wait 30 years to take
correct.
the space shuttle up. Wasn't 30 years, but anyways, you get my point. But managing innovation being something that you expect it to happen. It's not this magical thing that you hope will happen. It's
Yeah,
going to happen, and managing it and almost making it more of a steady climb as opposed to
correct.
sort of a spiky kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I 100% agree. You also get what's like this compounding innovation where you can do small things and over the course of a couple of months, it doesn't feel like big changes, but all of a sudden you look back and you're like, wow, I can't believe how far we've come over those
Right.
9 months.
We were talking in the green room before we hit record today, and we're talking about putting up Christmas trees, and I think I said to you, it feels like I just took down the Christmas tree, but it's been a year,
Yeah.
right? And so much stuff has happened, and I'm looking back, said, "Wow, it's Christmas again."
Yeah.
We're recording this in Christmas. This will be people when you're watching this, it'll be after Christmas, just so you know, folks. But in any event, it's
We're in the
and you think
future already.
all this stuff happened over the past year. It's really, really interesting, and just to think about time and all those
Yeah.
things. The frontline worker has been sort of a perennially sort of uh, underserved contingent of the workforce when it comes to sort of HCM software, right?
Yes.
And and so much of this stuff has been created for the desk worker in mind, right? This
Yeah.
sort of the information worker, the white collar worker or
Hmm.
whatever. Um, but what are some of the challenges when it comes to workforce management specifically? There's all sorts of stuff with talent acquisition too. Frontline workers aren't necessarily going to have an email address that they use versus,
Yeah.
information worker might, these sorts of things. But when it comes to, scheduling and
Yeah.
workforce management, what does Frontline do to help with that? Like, well, how does that work? What's unique about this?
Yeah. I mean, I think, first of all, your bigger point is a really good one, which is that the information worker versus the frontline worker, in some ways they're similar, but in many ways they're very, very, very different. Um, you know, for a frontline worker or for an information worker, generally you're assuming that they're sitting at a laptop, they're probably on Microsoft Teams all day or Zoom calls or they're in Outlook and they are on Slack and they go to meetings and they reserve meeting rooms and they worry about when they can work from home versus when they can be in the office. Um, the frontline worker has none of that. There is no work from home
Yeah.
in the frontline world. It's not like you can say, "Listen, I'm gonna move those packages today from my couch because I don't want to come in today." It doesn't
Yeah.
happen that way. Um, it also is true that their tenure is much different. So when you hire somebody at a Fortune 500 in a desk job, I think most people are hoping that this is going to be a 3 to 5 year employee.
Mhm.
Um, in the world of frontline work, you're hoping for 3 to 5 months,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Which means everything is different. Everything is different. In the world of information, just kind of bringing it into workforce management, you know, you can I wouldn't recommend it for our listeners. But if you have a new HQ staff member who joins, they could have a pretty bad first week, and it probably won't be the end of the world.
Right.
They'll remember it and say, "Wow, my onboarding was terrible. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know my desk. I was so confused." And it's fine. I wouldn't recommend it. Okay,
Mm,
take care of people, but it'd be fine.
I know where you're
In a
going with this.
frontline world, if you don't treat that person well in the first week, they're not coming back for week 2.
No. The barrier to exit is so much lower in the
So
front
much
line.
lower.
Yeah. By the way,
So
when you described the information worker, you triggered me a little bit. You described my day today, but
yeah, exactly.
go
The
ahead.
last thing I'd say here, right, that's interesting is, you know, the the qualitative data is really, really challenging in the world of frontline work. What I mean by that is in the world of office work, if they send you a very long survey, all the office workers will take the very long survey
Yeah.
and they will add in lots of comments and they'll write paragraphs about how the company could do better. They'd come to focus groups, whatever it is.
Yeah.
In the frontline world, um, if you send them a survey every 6 months, first of all, very few of them are gonna take that survey. And number 2, the the richness or the level of data that you'll get, qualitatively data, will be much lower. For instance, I'll give you a very simple thing. Um, I'm quitting because, I didn't make enough money. I'm quitting because of money. In one interpretation, we might say, "Wow, we need to pay people more." Like, we need to raise wages. Another person could interpret that comment and say, "Wait a second. They needed to make more money. They needed more hours."
Yeah.
And so if you raise wages without solving the scheduling challenge, you might still see people quit
Yeah.
because the problem for them wasn't that they couldn't make another dollar or two. It's that they couldn't find a schedule that worked for them that also produced enough income to pay for their what they wanted to do in life. And that's really, really challenging at scale in the front line. And that's one of the things found, our products do really, really well is to kind of get that signal and separate it from the noise in a way that delivers real actionable insight to say, wow, we actually have a scheduling problem, not a pay problem.
That's so interesting. It reminded me of something I learned in college. It was a communication theory class. We talked about shared meaning, right? And there's a fundamental lack of or a misunderstanding. There's a I guess an absence of shared meaning where
Yes.
you don't even really realize it.
Do we know?
Yeah. If yeah yeah it's
By
that
the
I
way,
would have yeah. Go ahead.
I know this is we can't have a podcast in 2025 or 2026 and not talk about AI. So
Let's
we
do
might as
it.
well check that box. This is an area where AI is really, really powerful because AI, if you had unlimited money and unlimited time, you could hire lots and lots of people to figure out shared meanings.
Yeah.
You could actually send somebody to every store nationwide and talk to every single person for an hour. It'd be great. It'd be
Yeah.
incredible. It'd be the
Expensive.
most expensive project that you've ever created.
Yeah.
And if you could afford it, it'd be wonderful, but mostly we can't. But this is where AI agents and agentic AI technology can really be deployed in
Mm.
powerful ways within workforce management.
And it's an efficiency play too, because not
Correct.
only would it be expensive, it'd be time consuming. Not
Correct.
necessarily inefficient, but very time consuming. And so
Absolutely.
you're shortening that considerably. In the time we have left, let's just talk. Can you just describe to me, give me a little bit more of sort of give me a picture and give our audience a picture of what would a good onboarding experience look like for a frontline employee?
Yeah. I mean, first off, as much as we can do before their first day, the better. So if there's things I need to sign or take care of, all that administrative stuff that's not interesting, if I can do that asynchronously on my mobile device before I appear for work on the first day, we've already got 2 points on the board before I even start.
Yeah.
You know, if my first minutes on the job are about the job, the team, the culture, the attitude, the history, the responsibilities versus, hey, let me have you sign all these documents, sit in this room for a while. We're going to get our stuff together and get it organized, and then we'll talk. If it's more of the former and less of the latter, way better from an onboarding perspective.
Yeah.
Second thing is, do you have my schedule? Do you have the schedule I want? Right? What I don't want to hear is it's my first day. I told you that I really like to work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, and you've got me scheduled on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
not great. Last thing I'd say is be very curious about how my first day, first week, first month is going. And now you can do that with humans or you can do that with technology, but being really curious about what were my first impressions? How was my first hour? Because I think what you see in the data is for many companies, if someone makes it to day 30, we got a good chance of them making it to day 90
Mm.
and beyond.
Yeah.
If day one was a mess, way lower likelihood that I ever make it to day 30. So that's just a little bit about what I would say about sort of the onboarding experience. And the good news is, because of technology, this is now achievable. It used to be science fiction. It's not.
I'm so glad you mentioned science fiction. Just a small plug for the weekly newsletter here at HR.com. Had a science fiction space theme to it. But you're right. You also took the words right out of my mouth, and it only makes sense, being the leader of Fountain. But, this is really technology is making this
Yes,
possible like never before.
absolutely.
You could have had these ideas and understood it 10, 15 years ago and not have been able to achieve
Couldn't
it.
do it.
But now we can. And so there really is no excuse but to get your ducks in order
Absolutely.
to onboard those frontline people the right way. Um, Sean, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a great conversation with you.
Absolutely, Brent. Great to be here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Future of Workforce Management and Payroll Insights by HR.com. We hope today's episode brought you valuable insights and fresh perspectives on the future of payroll and workforce management. Be sure to check out more episodes and explore resources at hr.com/podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, keep innovating and making a difference in the world of payroll and workforce management.